Absolutely such a close race, the closest race of the night so far. Watching the Super Glue glued to the action replay. El Toro Loco was in the lead, but in that final turn, with a time of 20.528, your winner, Todd LeDuc, Megalodon Stars and Stripes. Megalodon Stars and Stripes, Todd LeDuc fighting the rear steer right now. No rear steer for that truck, making it absolutely difficult for him to get around the track. I think he's lining up for that Morgan & Morgan backflip ramp. Can he get the double? You're kidding me! Let's go!
The fireworks are happening early, Seattle!
Running away with it, Todd LeDuc. Megalodon takes the victory. Throwing it down on those front two BKT tires. From one obstacle to the other. And he lost his dentures, I believe. Megalodon lost part of his bite. See if he still has the same bite up there on the track. Oh, goes into a bicycle. Under the 60-second mark for Todd LeDuc. 35 seconds on the clock for Megalodon Stars and Stripes. Todd coming out to the asphalt, think he's going to turn it around and go into this Morgan to Morgan backflip. Throwing it backwards. Bouncing on the tires, holding it steady. 15 seconds remaining, Todd. Just a little bit of time to do something. Todd still going on the front two BKT tires, holding it steady. Still holding it. Just inching forward and bringing it down. First attempt. Todd, one of the most technical drivers, so let's see if he goes into a bicycle. That seems to be what he typically does. A bicycle maneuver on the second attempt. Does he do it here at Atlanta Motor Speedway? And I think he does. Getting on the side of the tires. Pedaling. Pedaling.
Dun-dun.
All right, halfway through the run, Todd LeDuc just going back and forth across the track, 2 football field lengths worth. Said he might try a new stunt. Does it happen right now? Lines it up, Morgan to Morgan backflip. Hits one, bounces on those tires. Bicycle ride, and can he get a stop? Can he get a save? No, he cannot.
And your winner, Megalodon Stars and Stripes. Racing! Going to our official times, checking in on the Monster Jam official timing. Let's find out who was able to get the victory. You see them, the super glue to the action replay, and it is official. Your winner, Todd LeDuc, Megalodon, 20.659. That is Megalodon Stars and Stripes with the fastest time of the afternoon. Still 1 attempt remaining. You guys know how this works. What has he got for us? Is he going to another bicycle? Stop it. Todd LeDuc, Megalodon. Oh, no. Tried to get into a stop. He scored. Halfway through this run here in Denver, the first competitor in Monster Jam Freestyle. Plenty of time to put together some wow moments. I think we might see our first one right here. Lining it up for the Morgan, a Morgan backflip. Let's flip it. Yeah, the crowd goes crazy. 40 seconds remaining for this time. Todd LeDuc, you got all the time in the world. Oh, with a nice bounce, Todd, a great save. 20 seconds on the clock. Ten seconds remaining. Todd has enough time to pull off one more maneuver. What's he gonna do? Let's go for some spinning.
Denver! We're gonna need a big...
Lining it up, Morgan to Morgan backflip. Under 50 seconds for Todd LeDuc, Megalodon Stars and Stripes. Taking a bounce. Beautiful recovery. Todd is dancing. Oh, yes! 23 seconds on the clock. Can he refire?
But he knows he's got to try to beat it. But you got to come out next if you're Chad Fortune, Captain America. Oh, my goodness.
Hopefully Chad wasn't able to bear witness to what just happened there. And he's just thinking he's going to go out and do his just standard crazy off-the-hook freestyle. Because if he saw that, he's thinking to myself, I'm just going to back up and go park.
You know, the other cool thing is we're seeing a lot of familiar faces behind the wheel. But what about the new trucks? I mean, we're talking about Northern Nightmare. We've already seen Metal Militia. Now Captain America. These are just incredible pieces. And they've all built huge fan bases right off the bat in their first year in Advanced Auto Parts Monster Jam competition.
Well, you talk about, you know, the familiar faces. You talk about the new trucks, the new chassis. I've got to say, you know, forgive me, Chad, big guy here, but he's like a new man in this new truck. He has just, like, come out with a whole new attitude, and his driving ability seems to have changed 100%. He's loving this new ride, and it shows with his talent.
Chad Fortune doing a nice job. And you know, everybody wants to win, but I got to believe if you're Chad Fortune, Captain America, you can't think about what Cam McQueen did. You can't try and outdo him. You've got to run your freestyle, do the best you can do, give your fans what they came to see, and let the scores end up where they are.
Be as they may, and as any driver is going to tell you, I think really what you just said is you cannot have to have that stuck in your head. You've got to go out there and go with your game plan, and don't let anybody intimidate you. And that works for racing, and it works for the same for freestyle. You've got to get out there and just run your big deal and go with your plan.
Well, here's the bonus time now for Captain America and Chad Fortune. You know, the reason I make that point about the score, just looking at the stats, Northern Nightmare has just posted the 3rd highest score in the 13-year history of this competition.
How about that?
How hard is that going to be to beat?
It's tough to top right there, buddy. But it can be done. There's room.
Look at Chad, though. I'm going to tell you, he's airing this bad boy out.
He sure is.
Captain America. It's just been a phenomenal truck all season long. You mentioned the fact that Fortune has put down runs like this all year. He has just been
he really has.
brimming with confidence. His team has worked out phenomenally, and yeah, he's really got the start of something good here in this first year behind the wheel of Captain America. And now he's spilled the clock. He's giving the fans bonus.
He's having fun.
You think about that run with Cam McQueen, you think about these runs you're seeing, it's why you better be getting your tickets now for our next edition, Advanced Auto Parts Monster Jam World Finals 14 party. And that will start right now. You know, we have talked about Chad Fortune trying to be the 30 here now in Captain America, and how as his career has developed, it seemed like perfect timing. Oh my! He hangs on! There's your biggest save so far.
That was sick.
And I don't think that he moves so little in reverse. I don't think the judges even paid attention to that because they're all wowed with that pogo save, if you will. I'll tell you, that's got to get you talking to yourself, though. You're up on your nose like that. Man.
Oh, yes.
But again, the point is that Fortune, as his career has developed, Captain America just seems to come along at a perfect time. It's a great piece. He fits with it so well, and he's never looked better. But
Scott.
Well, he's looked better than that.
Well.
one where Chad's got to use the brain and not come out too big. Sometimes, I'm not sure this is a track for a guy who wants to start huge, because you do that, you could be done quick.
You really could. It's, you know, you're going to be living on the edge if you go out here and you try to go big right off the bat just for the survival of the truck. But you know what? That may be what it takes sometimes.
You know, you see Chad Fortune here in the Captain America. Chad's been doing a real good job this year, really putting together some strong freestyles. Adam, I know you've been with him a bunch of places this year, and he's been doing a great job.
He really has. He's got a good crew chief that's really keeping the truck together, tuning the shocks on the truck for him, and really just keeping Chad in his place and keeping him moving out here on the track, as you can see.
And Adam, I know we've talked about this before, and you and I know it firsthand. You know, that driver-crew chief relationship makes everything. I mean, it makes you a more confident driver, confident in the truck, and when you have something like that with your crew chief, it really helps.
It really does. And as you can see right here, his crew chief's probably on the radio pushing him right now, telling him to pick it up. And look at that, riding it down, wheeling it right across. That was unreal.
Fortune doing an outstanding job here. I mean, he's covering every corner of the track, hitting every obstacle. He's mixing some big air in there with some nice technical stuff, and looks like the body doesn't want to go for the ride anymore. It doesn't look like.
I don't know what happened. Did he crash earlier? What's happened here? Here it goes. Body's coming off of it. It's tough to see. Oh, the hood's popping off. It's getting in his way there a little bit.
You know, it's good to see Chad here. He's going end to end like people haven't done yet. He's going side to side, and like we said earlier, there's no smooth place to land. Oh, there goes the hood.
There you go. Oh, right back on himself. Look at that. Look at that. Berming it.
Wait a minute, gentlemen. Is that Captain America or Spider-Man? I'll let Spider-Man climb the wall.
He's using every bit of the track and then some.
That was unbelievable. That's 10,000 pounds he drove sideways up the wall protection.
Man, he's got a really great run going on.
I got to see the replay on that again. That's incredible. Wow. So Chad Fortune, Captain America, as these guys and girls continue to figure out who can handle the most incredibly treacherous and difficult track ever. Is that not fitting to determine our Monster Jam World Freestyle Champion? We're just getting started in that pursuit.
Boy, Fortune's really rolling the dice a couple times here. You see he's got the rear steered, swinging around and hanging off, hitting things crooked. This is different for Fortune. You know, Fortune's usually a straight, narrow guy. Now he's really getting after doing everything from different angles.
He's working it right now. He's really taking the track. He's, like you said, he's approaching everything at different angles and taking the chance, and that's what it takes to take a win out there in Vegas.
Yeah, like we talk about all the time, Adam. A save is a product of a bad decision, and
Absolutely.
he's had a couple of those here, but he's coming out looking great here. Chad's doing an awesome job, and that truck's holding tough, man. It's taking a pounding out there for sure.
So is the toughest thing on this truck the shield? That's the only thing that doesn't look damaged.
Well, you know, a lot of times I go out there and you want the truck to look good, but it's the mechanic side of it, Scott. You want to go out there and you want to have 110% underneath your butt out there on the track.
And Adam, you got to think though too that the time he's been out there, he's probably jumped more in this one freestyle than he had in one show all year.
I'm looking forward to this one. Remember the last time we had Dan Radoni in Anaheim? He flat rocked the house at Angel Stadium. Earlier today, we asked him about that great freestyle in the Big A.
You know, I felt great about the freestyle. You know, the judges, I mean, you know, scores are entirely up to them, you know. You win some, you lose some, but you know, I felt good about it. A lot of people came to the line, really complimented us on it, so we had a great time.
I'm gonna ask the tough question. You think you should have won?
That's a hard question. There were some good freestyles. You know, I thought it was probably one of the best ones you'll see out of me in this truck, and we'll just see what happens this weekend. You know, we might be able to top it. Who knows?
Sarah going Mike Wallace on us, getting a tough question in there, but he only finished, remember, 1 bonus point short of a tie with Pablo and Gravedigger.
I know exactly what he's thinking there, but right now he's thinking,
looky.
I gotta land this, baby, and he does it.
Nails it again. So we saw that earlier from Rick Swanson, now duplicated by Dan Radoni and the Patriot. Boys, this guy may be the most improved freestyler in the game based on what we've seen in Anaheim and now here in San Diego. Really nice momentum, a nice flow to the Patriot freestyles that we're seeing these days.
Yeah, he's got good speed here. You know, the truck seems to be working really well for him. You know, that's very important for a driver's confidence. Comes in here, gets a nice donut, knows exactly where he wants to point in front of that truck so he can keep that combo moves going one after another, and that's exactly what he's doing here.
Well, you know, fans really studying this freestyle can see really the contrast and how momentum makes such a big deal.
Right,
the big momentum trucks like Arachnophobia and Patriot really keeping the crowd rocking, while some of the other guys had great moves but couldn't keep the momentum going, and now we've got the Patriot bonus time. Oh, see, there's options there. That's what the thing freestylers today have to learn the U.S. hot rod officials are going to do. We're going to give you options. Pick the one that you can make the most spectacular move with, and you can see right there at the last second, he went for the step up.
Yeah, he sure did. You know, he's had the opportunity to do some great moves here. Not only do the officials give you great options, it's real important you make your own options and choices too. Go out and make something different they haven't made for you. That makes for a cool freestyle.
And we say officials, let's also compliment the track builders who do a great job putting these things together. Dan Rodoni, outstanding run again. Not sure this is quite as rocking as Anaheim, but this is a solid, nice freestyle.
Yeah, I think it's a real good, solid freestyle as well, Scott. Definitely not going to do what he did in Anaheim with that high score. And, you know, kudos to him. Not to backtrack, but you know what? I think he should have won that. I'm going out on a limb. I'm going to say it. I think he should have won.
Well, he's just going to park it right on the top and listen to a lot of big time flies. Now, Dan Rodoni, who has shown us some outstanding freestyles in the past when he's gotten the opportunity to bring a Patriot onto speed.
One thing I want to point out, we talked about Calvin Raymer and Dan Rodoni.
Wow! Biggest air of the night.
This is going to go to what I'm pointing out. Calvin Raymer's got a Racehorse chassis. This is a Racehorse chassis. These chassis work.
And, of course, Racehorse is the company that Pablo Huffaker builds. We'll see Pablo a little bit later in Gravedigger. Look at the...
Wow!
Man, these are just huge moves.
Unbelievable cross threads.
Earlier, Sarah caught up with Dan Rodoni.
So Dan, obviously heading into freestyle, you do want to impress these fans. What is something that you do to make sure they enjoy your time out there?
Big air. That's what I'm a fan of. I love to go out there and hit things big, a lot of speed, keep momentum up. You know, I think that's what makes it nice freestyle.
Well, he is delivering on that with some of the biggest air we have seen so far.
You know, let's keep in mind he had a problem in racing. He had a water pump problem. He wasn't able to go out and do racing for us. He definitely wants to make up for it in his freestyle. He sure is, in my opinion.
That was the most outstanding first minute we've seen. If he can keep following it up, we may get a new leader. The crowd is standing. They're loving this. More great air from Dan Rodoni and the Patriot. Start to finish, what you gotta love, he is not wasting any time. Everything is heading for another move. And what you talked about earlier, speed, momentum, air, he's got it all.
How about that? That's what I was talking about. No, I think, whoa! Come on, Rodoni, you can do this.
Almost held on to it. Listen to this place. Talking about guys who have earned their way here and get their shot. Dan Rodoni, the veteran, making his first Monster Jam World Finals appearance in the Patriot.
Yeah, you know, Dan's such a great guy. That operation they have based out in California, you know, Mike Pappas and Peckham, all the guys there. Adam, I really look forward to going to Anaheim just to go hang out with Rodoni and his guys.
I really do too, man. They're their Monster Jam West Coast family out there, and it's he's out here. He's representing well for his team tonight.
That truck works awesome. It's a Racehorse chassis built by Pablo Huffaker. The crew takes great care of it. You know, the thing. He's one of those guys. When he pulls into the pits, you know he's all business.
That's it, definitely. His trucks always look good. They always run good.
Yeah, and you know the cool part about Dan and his operations is that they're just such good people, good guys, and you know he's been racing in Monster Jam now since I think 2005, and for him to make the World Finals this year is great. It's well overdue.
It really is, and I talked to him quite a bit, man. And it's intimidating out there to be his first time out here, and he wants to do a great job for the fans.
And you know, one thing Dan won't have a problem with here is the truck holding up. You know, he's got a great piece, and they take care of it. It's got the best of the best on it, and he's really thrown down a good run here, Adam.
He really is, man. He's crossing it up. He's getting big air on almost everything, which is almost impossible not to because everything is so big.
And you see he's got the big lugs in the back and the Balder tires in the front, and that combination seemed to work for him all year out in California, running on Anaheim, Oakland, those places. So the truck is doing a great job, and Dan's really representing well.
I'm finding it interesting, the different strategies that we watched Dan here. You know, we've seen over the course of the year on the big stadium courses where all the obstacles are pretty much in the center because we've got to keep them outside for the racing lane, which we don't have to do here, that there's been a strategy and I've seen a lot develop, where you start working the outside and then you work your way in. You almost kind of make it like a tight peel on the onion. Here, that hadn't really been like that. It is kind of differentiating. Whoa, he's got it saved.
He's got it.
It is differentiating like in the lanes, but I don't see that same working it in and around theory. Everybody's got a different strategy, which is kind of cool.
It is. It makes for a different show, that's for sure. You basically start on the outside and work. Look at that big air. Look at that. Oh.
Unbelievable jump by Dan Rodoni. The truck, he's back on all fours.
Maybe he's not finished
Are
yet.
you kidding me? Well, that's my first "are you kidding me" of the night. I figured we'd have a